All right, so we're here at Momentum Builder 2024 with Craig Davis, the Sherpa. What's up, brother?
Hey, good to see you.
Leader of, oh my gosh, wait, Ascend Experience.
On the toes for your ascending.
So what is a Sherpa? What is a Momentum Builder Sherpa?
Yeah.
I can't even say it right. What is a Momentum Builder Sherpa?
Yeah.
And like, I guess here, why is it important? Why are you getting on the stage so many times?
Well, so when we were talking about some things about how we want to do this event, instead of just doing my normal keynote, I said, well, hey, hold on a second. Been to a lot of these conventions, instead of just letting the audience have their own mindset along the way, I think we should try to help guide it, because there's amazing speakers and there's an arc to the story.
Right.
So why don't I be the Sherpa? Right, we're all climbing this mountain and all the speakers are the guides.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna help carry the weight.
Right.
So I'm just gonna come up and do little 5-minute clarity nugs
right.
along the way and just sort of help guide the audience.
Right.
And so we did a little more mindset yesterday, and today we got a little more tactical.
Right.
Around momentum, for example.
Right. And you talked about this, and actually this just reminded me, walking up the mountain, is that there's a way to do it. And if you don't do it in the way that it needs to be done, you'll have muscle fatigue and you won't make it.
That's right.
So talk about that. You have to walk a certain way.
That's right.
Up a mountain. How do loan officers, business professionals have to walk in this market?
Right, so let's frame it like this, right? So I climbed Mount Rainier many years ago, and I just equate the same with just like pursuing your goal. You're climbing a mountain, and we're excited, and we're passionate. That's motivation. And as we get going, it gets harder and colder, and sometimes we gotta take a knee. And then we have to get back up. So the point is, we had the skills to climb the mountain.
Right.
Just like we all have the skills to do our jobs, obtain our goals, all of that. However, it was not our skills that got us to the summit.
Right.
It's our technique. And what they taught us from climbing the mountain was what I was talking about, is the rescue breath, that's to help combat the altitude, and the mountain step, where you put all your weight on the skeletal frame of your leg to preserve the muscles so you can avoid muscle fatigue.
Gosh.
That's the technique.
Right.
And certainly in going towards our goals, and as originators and leaders and managers and recruiters and all of that, what's your technique? I mean, that goes into your personal brand, it's your stuff. Why? Because people connect with people, not product.
Right, and it feels unnatural sometimes to do it in a different way, to put all your weight on your skeleton instead of your muscles. We're used to do it in a different way, but in this market we got to shift and we got to do something different. So speaking of shifting, let's make shift happen.
Yeah, well, and actually just even on that point, right, because when we first started walking, it was very unnatural, absolutely unnatural, until it became natural. All those incremental actions that create remarkable results, and that is how we also make shift happen.
Right. Right, okay, so basically you gotta be bad before you're good.
Well, you just gotta get in there.
Yeah.
You gotta get your hands dirty. You
100%.
gotta be okay with not knowing all the answers.
100%.
Like I mentioned before, ignorance is one of my greatest superpowers. Just go do, and we'll learn as we go, and be okay
100%.
with that. Yeah.
100%, so you talked a lot about your biggest fear.
Uh-huh.
And like, bro, you have a story, but I mean, I don't wanna steal your thunder, but
No.
what was your biggest fear? And what happened?
So, I mean, my biggest fear was always about losing my job. And so much of that was because it was tied into my identity. My job was my identity.
I get it.
And certainly being in the mortgage business, right, the volatility of the mortgage business always had that push and pull, and that was always my greatest fear.
Right.
And then as the story goes, that was a Sunday and life is great. Peak of my career, amazing group of leadership around me and running the entire Western United States, all production. And guess what happens on a Monday? I found out I had stage 3 cancer.
Ugh. I mean, my God. So the worst thing happened, and then you of course lost your job.
And then after I got through cancer and got through the 6 months of chemo and radiation and all of that and got to recover, 6 weeks later, I lost my job. And here's what's really interesting. And I didn't say this on stage, I'll say it to you. It was harder for me to lose my job than it was to get cancer.
Wow.
Not to get cancer, to fight cancer. It was harder for me when I lost my job.
Wow, why?
Because that was my identity.
So identity death is almost worse than actual physical death.
It was because it forced me to then also now reinvent. And the cancer part, I believed I just have to endure treatment, and I will endure treatment and get to the other side of the thing. When I lost my job, I didn't know what to believe. Why?
Powerful.
Because hope is a strategy.
Wow.
But it's not a tactic.
Wow. Wow. I mean, bro, how'd you get out of that mess? How'd you get out of that hole? like in mentally speaking, here we're talking about mental health. You know, this is a big issue in our industry. I think it's a big issue nationally too, but in our industry specifically, mental health is a big thing. How did you pick yourself up to that, from that? Because I think that that's important for people to hear.
Yeah, well, and this could be a keynote in of itself. I mean, you know, after going through cancer, and then, you know, I never had a chance to grieve from cancer. I never had a chance to recover. I never had a chance to celebrate that I got over cancer, because as soon as that, you're recovering for a long time. And then losing my job took over. And I went to a really dark place. I'd never been there before. And what got me out of it was my wife, my child, my friends. And my wife helped bring a belief back into me. She breathed that air and oxygen and that belief back into me. And then it was just a matter of, okay, grit, faith, and action.
Wow.
And when I decided to then say, all right, I think it's time to now, this was always my life after mortgage plan, to start Ascend Experience and get into coaching and speaking and consulting. I just thought that would be later, not now. But I was just listening, and I tell you, man, and there was just so many signs of just like, and my wife was really like, are you listening? Are you paying attention? Because now is the time. And so I just went all in, and that's when you and I met. Remember? I'm like, all right, I've been a coach for 5 days.
Do you know how many people tell me that
all
too?
in.
You know how many people tell me they're going to be a coach? I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I probably have said it too.
Do you know how many people have told me they're going to be a coach?
I know, right. So, I mean, it's an incredibly difficult career to pursue, number one, but I think harder to be successful at it. And look at all the things you've done. Now, granted, you have a track record of being a coach. You've been in this industry for a long time. You have a lot of value to give, but even you had that self-doubt.
Of course.
So much so that your wife needed to, you know, kick you in the ass a little bit to say, no, listen, man, this is the time. So talk about Ascend Experience. Why should somebody sign up for it? What are they going to learn? What's somebody going to get out of it?
Well, and I appreciate that. I mean, look, first of all, the reason why I'm successful at what I'm doing and building this business and creating momentum is because it's absolutely my joy, purpose, and passion to help you succeed on purpose and in your design. I mean, that's my purpose statement, right? But that's why I'm doing this, because that was always how I led and managed, and that was how I was very successful throughout my sales career. So I'm just chasing my passion. And as I started getting going, my very first clients, all my early adopted clients, were people who used to work for me. And I literally had 2 people say, Craig, I need you back in my life. You're not there anymore. I need you back in my life. I need you to be my coach. I said, okay.
So cool.
And so again, these things are coming together, and then and the biggest thing that I focus on too as a coach, and I think what sets me apart is, you know, I'm not trying to make this harder. I'm not trying to create more work. I'm actually trying to create less work. And what I focus on are little shifts that create remarkable results. And the track record now that creates what I call opportunity attraction, it makes you attractive.
Understated.
Which brings opportunity. And I now see that with my clients is just, that's why.
I relate a lot of things to dating girls, and you don't go out and pursue a girl. You become an attractive person. It can be male or female. You don't go out and pursue. You become the person that you'd want to pursue would be attracted to. And I think that that's such an understated thing, and that's where the work comes in. That's where the discipline comes in. That's where the self-awareness of, hey, I really need to change, and these are the things, and this is what I'm going to work on. So, I mean, am I summarizing?
I think that's really good. I mean, again, you want to make yourself attractive. And by the way, you're not necessarily attracted to every girl out there. Hey, you're a good-looking guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you are. However, just like every opportunity is not going to be attracted to you, but certain ones are. And so you want to position, again, that goes into, when I'm talking about your technique versus your skill, I mean, that goes into your personal brand.
Big time.
Knowing what your joy, purpose, and passion is, how to then engage your personal brand into your marketing, your client engagement, your self-fulfillment. All of this stuff comes together, and it's like magically, you don't even realize, oh my gosh, I'm all of a sudden realizing all this success that I didn't realize before. I see it. And that's really, it gives me goosebumps actually talking about it. And that's just the greatest, you know, feeling.
Dude, I feel a positive energy. Dude, this has been an awesome event. The Sherpa Momentum Builder 2024, Craig Davis. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.